Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today we're going to pick up a BMW 1 Series that I've just bought for £1,000. I've never had much luck with the 1 Series, but maybe this might just be the one to break the negative cycle. Fingers crossed. So let me tell you what I know about this one. I know that it's a 2008, it's a 118i petrol, so I think it's a 2-litre petrol. They're a chain-driven engine. Reliability is a bit of a mixed bag. It really is a roll of the dice. It depends how it's been looked after. And it's done around 120,000 miles and it's black. That's all I know. I had a quick look on Auto Trader first and they're going for around £3,000. So I'm hoping if I can spend maybe £600 or £700 or £800 on this, then it'll owe me 1,800 quid. Then it should be worth £3,000, maybe a tad more. I'm hoping that there's a decent profit margin here, otherwise it's just a big fat waste of time. The last time I bought a cheap BMW 1 Series and filmed it on this channel, that was a big fat waste of time. It took about 3 months to complete and I spent about £2,000 on it. In the end I did sell that one for £5,000, so there was a little tiny dribble of profit, but when you consider all the time I spent on it and all the time that the money was tied up in it, then it wasn't really a worthwhile exercise. But I'm hoping this one's different. Wish me luck. Right, should we go and have a look at it then? I'll see you there. Oh yes. What a glorious day. Well, we're here. I was hoping, desperately hoping this wasn't going to be your typical abused 1 Series, and straight away I can see a 3D reg plate. On the bright side though, there are no wind deflects on the windows. The wheels look a bit battered though. The rear reg plate isn't even on straight. It's quite tidy though from afar. Needs a good clean. Front wheels are covered in brake dust, and the near side has definitely had paint. You can just see the bog in those doors. But I mean, it's a 15-year-old car, isn't it? I think I could make that quite tidy. It's a Welsh car. It's got a Sitner sticker. Right, as always then, let's do a quick vehicle history check using Car Vertical. It's really easy to use. All you do is go to carvertical.com, type in the vehicle reg or the VIN. So in this case we know the reg is Charlie Kilo 08 November Tango Golf. If you want to do one of these checks for yourself, and I urge you to do so before you hand over any money for a used car or motorbike, use my promo code HIGHPEAK for 10% off each and every report. Or alternatively, click the link below in the video description. Right, this is currently checking millions of cars across dozens of countries' databases. I think it's something like 35 countries in total. It'll tell us whether it's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. It's really quite a thorough check. Sometimes if it has been involved in an accident, there are even photographs of the damage. Not always, but sometimes. I mean, on the face of it, for £1,000, it does sound quite cheap, doesn't it? Right, and the report's done. So, we're all clear. I was slightly worried actually. I thought perhaps it had been involved in a bump or something. So it's never been stolen, never had a mileage rollback, there's no outstanding finance, and it's never been involved in a recorded accident. So, the BMW 1 Series 2008 gives a variety of different engines, blah blah blah, gives a full write-up as well. Let's see, right, the last known mileage was 113 and that was in November last year. And it's fairly consistent every single year. Quite low really for its age then, isn't it, this? And it's a 116, I've been calling it a 118, it's a 116. And it's a petrol manual, right. Let's go down to its most recent MOT then. The ownership changed in 2020, and then, right, it passed its last MOT at 113,000 miles in November last year, and there were a few advisory items. Near side front brake hose slightly deteriorated, near side front shock absorber has light missing of oil, near side front tyre worn close to the legal edge, near side rear suspension arm bracket corroded but not seriously reduced, offside front brake hose slightly deteriorated, and offside front tyre worn close to the legal limit on the edge. Right, okay, so we've got 2 front tyres possibly. Oh, well that isn't too bad then, is it? I think it all boils down to how it drives. Okay then. Well, firstly we've got both sets of keys, which is always a good sign. I don't know whether you'll be able to see this on the camera, but you can definitely tell that that's had paint on that side. I mean, for this value of car and age of car and mileage of car, I suppose it doesn't really matter, does it? But my eagle eye has spotted that already. Also spotted the wheels are completely battered. Look at the state of that one. Looks like somebody's had a chainsaw to it. And it's taken a good chunk out of the tyre as well. Now that's a shame because that's quite a new tyre. Now if you remember, both front tyres were advised on the last MOT at 113 8 months ago, so they've obviously been replaced at some point, but that needs replacing again, sadly. Looks okay down the panels though, and across the front. I hate 3D plates, have I ever told you that? Does need a good old clean, get rid of all this bird muck. Wiper blades look okay. I think someone's painted that themselves, a bit of a aerosol tin. On the back we've got a Rydans on about 5mm of tread. Brake discs look okay, or feel okay, there's no lip. And the brake discs on the front, not too bad either. Not too bad. Moving down the back then, we've got rear parking sensors. They must have been an option, I think. Hideous plate. I'll transform this car with a good wash and a fresh set of plates. We've got another matching Rydans. Decent tread. I mean, this weather doesn't help, but it does need a very good clean. There's a little dent there, which I think I might be able to get to. My dent man might be able to pop that out. Looks like someone's either kicked it or hit a golf ball up against it. A couple of little marks here, but I can get those off with some T-cut. We've got a matching Delinte on the front. Yeah, on about 6mm. I'll try and get another Delinte then, so at least it matches. And spec-wise, I've just spotted we've got front sensors as well, which is quite good. This might not be a badly spec'd car then. And central locking works. Inside we've got cloth, manual seats, electric mirrors, 4 electric windows. We've got auto lights, I think that was an option. Multifunction steering wheel, I think that was an option as well. It's a 6-speed. A good clean and a set of mats. This will be alright. Bit of wear there on the driver's seat bolster, but I think that's to be expected, isn't it? It's a black car and it's a very hot day, so it is like an oven, this. Look quite clean really, isn't it? First aid kit, some bulbs. So the supplying dealer was sitting in Cardiff. Does look like an awful lot of car for a grand, this. Yeah, it has had damage to this side I think at some point, because the door stay thing, it's gone. Slightly better on that one. What can I tell you then? Seats are stained, but they'll come up with a good clean. Let's have a look under the bonnet then, shall we? Oh, in fact, let's have a look at the service history. When did it stop? So we've got all the books and manuals and stuff. So it's a 116, which is probably the most insurable model, isn't it, for some sort of young person. Sitting in Cardiff. Then again at 7, then again at 21, then 36, 41, 52, 58, 80, 95. Right, so the servicing stops at 95 in 2020, 3 years ago. Okay, well if I give it a fresh service then, fresh MOT, new tyre, good clean, refurb the wheels, what are we into? 500-600 quid? Exactly what I thought really on the drive down here, isn't it, that? I think they're ice fix points, aren't they? I don't know whether you can see this on the camera, but this side hasn't had any paint, because you can see the original paint finish. Whereas up here, can you see it's like an orange peel effect. Difficult to tell probably on this GoPro, but right, quite a small little engine that, isn't it? Doesn't take up an awful lot of space. What can I see then? No obvious bad rust or anything like that. Chassis legs look straight. Top mounts aren't all rusty. Got Harry Potter's wand there. Some leaves. There's no dipstick on this, is there, which I don't like. Just an electronic one. Wanted to dip the oil really and just see what it was like. It's black sapphire metallic, which I think was an option again. Inside then, crack there in the gauge cluster there. We're on Heart FM. We've got a service light on, so it is due a service. I knew that anyway. Let's see if this air conditioning works. We've got a broken vent fin thing here, but I've had this before with 1 Series, well, with BMWs in general. You can buy that whole unit there, and that just pops out, and you put the new one in. As long as I can find one with DTC. Some of them don't have that button there, but if I can find one, then I shall have a look on eBay and replace it. Got some COVID masks. Remember when they were a thing? A Dove there, some perfume. I would say my air conditioning's working. Didn't expect that really. Got 2 cup holders, no USB, not USB, charging point and auxiliary point. It's quite good, isn't it? Armrest. I think even an armrest was an option on this, you know. Lock and wheel nut. Some hair things. Cigarette lighter that's been used. I think, and the engine sounds quite sweet. We've got a half tank of fuel as well. Auto lights. And yeah, the biggest saving grace really is the fact the aircon works. Just roll it back a tad. Right, well I think we should probably take this for a drive, shouldn't we? See how it performs. It's done 118. 118. Average fuel 37. That's not bad, is it, for a 2 litre petrol, whatever it is. Right, first drive of the old 116 then. Well, the clutch feels quite nice straight away. Brakes aren't stuck on, they're not grinding. Steering sounds a bit sort of dry. I'll have to get my mechanic to check that out, see what it is. We've got 3 functioning windows. And another one there. Well, I suppose for a 15-year-old car done 118,000 miles, it's not bad. It is probably a, what is it? A 6 out of 10 maybe, and I think with a little bit of effort and money, I could turn this into a 7.5, maybe an 8, which I think is all you can ask for, isn't it, with this kind of thing? It does feel quite tight, actually. The gearbox feels quite tight. Clutch is good. So let's have a quick recap then. That's unusual, isn't it? An S3 flying through the village. Let's have a quick recap then. So I paid £1,000 for the car. I'm going to have to spend probably £250 at my mechanics, maybe 50 quid on that to replace that, 50 quid on a tyre, so we're into 350, 1350, 50 on a valet, there's 14, 200 on wheel refurbs, there's 16. I think this is a £3,000 car still, so yeah, set of mats, set of reg plates, all that sort of stuff. So I think my spend will be slightly higher than I anticipated by a few £100s. But I mean, to be fair, even if I spent £1,000 on this car, there's still £1,000 profit in it. And it does drive quite well. Feels quite nippy really for the little 116. Steering wheel buttons work. The biggest result really is the air conditioning. Yeah, pulls all right. It's not smoking. Suspension wise, it feels pretty good as well. It feels quite solid. It doesn't feel floaty or loose. Yeah, it's not a bad car, this, is it, really? And it's a 6-speed, which surprises me. I thought the 6 speeds were reserved for the bigger engines. Right, well I do have a bit of a to-do list then with this car. I think first thing I'm going to take it for a wash because it's filthy. Then I'll take it to my mechanics, get them to do the work to it, wheel refurbs, and then plod on with the rest of the job. So give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks and I'll catch up with you. Cheers guys. And we're back, and I think I've given this car a new lease of life. It was alright to begin with, to be fair, but it was looking a little bit unloved, and now I think it looks a whole lot better. The other good thing is I haven't spent that much money on it either, which is refreshing. After we last spoke, I took it down to my mechanics for a service, an MOT, a new tyre on the near side front because it had a chunk out the sidewall, and I think that was about it. Apart from it needing a new mirror glass and the near side door mirror, it sailed through its MOT. While it was down there, I asked them to look at the steering because it was making a bit of a dry noise, which it still is, to be fair. They said it was the steering motor. Everything still works, there are no warning lights, but it does make a little bit of a noise. So I thought, well, it's a 15-year-old car, I can't go replacing things willy-nilly. If it still works, then I haven't really got an issue. Interestingly, my mechanic thought that it could have happened. I'm guessing the previous owner of this has curbed that wheel because it had a big chunk out of the wheel and a big chunk out of the sidewall. So my mechanic with their detection skills reckon that's what might have caused that slightly noisy power steering. Anyway, a couple of days later I picked it up from there with a fairly minimal bill, which is always nice. Then I took it to have the wheels refurbished. Now Luke, my wheel guy, did have a bit of a whinge about repairing that near side front wheel. There was quite a chunk out of it, but I think you'll agree, looks as good as new. He's done a really good job. In between all that, I went onto eBay and ordered a new air vent thing for 20 quid. A couple of days later that arrived, so I fitted that, and I think you'll agree, it was £20 well spent. The old one had a couple of fins broken where somebody had put their phone holder on it perhaps. And I think when you first see a car and you open the door and get in, if that's the first thing you see, straight away you're on a bit of a downer. But now, it all looks nice and presentable. I love doing jobs like that because it's such a cheap, easy transformation. Then I took it down to my local car wash and I left it for a full valet. If you remember, the seats were quite badly stained and they've come up, again, pretty good. I didn't realise, but when I was doing the advert for this, it came up with the spec automatically on Auto Trader. And this has apparently got a black and cranberry cloth interior. I didn't know that. Then I got it back to work, fitted some new reg plates. I was really pleased to get rid of those hideous 4D ones, 3D ones, whatever they were. I detest those. Then I found some BMW black touch-up paint and I touched up carefully some stone chips on the bonnet and some other odd marks, and then I photographed it. Then when I was picturing it, I suddenly remembered I hadn't attended to that dent on the lower part of the driver's door. So I called the lads from Dents, that's D3 NTS, who were really good by the way. And as luck would have it, they were working on a garage in the village, so I drove this down there, left it with them, and then half an hour later went to go and collect it. It always amazes me how they get such good results. You'd hardly know anything was ever there. I think that was £80 well spent. Right then, I think that's about it. I've currently got this advertised for £3,295. It perhaps should be £2,995 to make it a bit more appealing, but I thought at £3,295 I may as well try it for a little bit. And straight away I've already had 2 inquiries. So hopefully it'll be sold shortly and I should have some profit in the bank. So what I'm going to do now is pull over and I'll talk you through my costs. So then, right, there was the MOT test fee, £40, the new tyre, £60, oil filter, £8.50, oil, £28, near side front mirror glass, £20, and labour, £90. Let me add this up then. My total at my mechanics was £357.40. Plus we've got £20 for the vent, £80 for the dent. Like Dr. Seuss, answer. The wheel refurbs cost me £180, and the full valet cost me £60. And what else? Oh, the set of reg plates, they cost me £15. So my total spend on this car was £712.40. Add in the £1,000 I paid for the car, that takes my total to 1712 and 40 pence. So if I can get £3,000 for it, I will have made a profit of just under 1,300 quid. Hopefully if I can get 3,295, then I'll have made 1,500 quid, which I think is great business. And that, ladies and gents, is about it. Let me try and get off this curb without damaging my wheels. There is one more job to do. It's a fault which I think's just developed. I can't remember it being there on the test drive, but I've driven dozens of cars since then, so I can't quite remember. But it might have cured itself. I was driving with the passenger seatbelt fastened because it kept binging and bonging, telling me that somebody was sat there. So I figured it either got wet from its valet and it was giving a false reading, or it's the seat occupancy sensor, which is based on weight, I think, or it could be the seatbelt clasp itself. But I've got no warning lights on and it's not beeping. It might have just dried out. Anyway, I'll keep my eye on that. But I think that's about it. So, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers guys. Right now I need to get out of here before I'm stuck in traffic all day long. So yeah, see you next time.